Welcome back everyone to Data Science for Everyone. Today we're going to be looking at geometric objects with ggplot and the tidyverse. Let's get started. So first thing we want to do is go on and grab our library function, and we're going to grab in our tidyverse package and let that load up. I'm going to clear that out. And so let's start talking about what geometrics are, or we sometimes like to call them geoms. So again, we have plots, for example, that are going to use a visual object. Again, everything in R is usually an object. It's all contained. And again, we're going to use visual objects to represent data in our data. So with ggplot2 syntax, that means that we're going to be using different geoms. Now, geoms themselves are geographical and geometrical objects. Okay, and again, the plot is going to represent our data. Now, we also describe plots by the type of geom. So, for example, bar charts are going to be bar geoms. Line charts, we use line geoms. Box plots are box plot geoms. Scatter plots, again, kind of break the trend though. They're going to be point geom. Again, we can also talk about quite a few different examples that we have here. But let's go on and do maybe just a quick example. So we'll do our ggplot, and we want our data to equal mpg here, and we want our geom point here to be our mapping, and we want our aesthetics in here to be x is going to be our displacement, y is going to be in here our highway. And again, this is going to be the basic plot that we have here. Okay, this is a basic scatter plot. Again, we are using the point geom point, so our point geom. And then let's go on and do another one in here, and I'm going to simply change this. Instead of geom point, we're going to say geom smooth. So geom smooth, again, here it's actually telling us here it's using the loss function with this particular formula, and we can also dictate a couple different times. But again, this is going to be basically a trend line here, a nice loss smoothed trend line, and again with our errors on either side. So again, not every aesthetic is going to work with a specific geom though, okay? Sometimes they require us to have categorical variables, sometimes we're going to have to have continuous variables, etc. And again, we're not going to be able to have, again, we just need to be relatively careful with how we use this. Now, another fun thing that we can do, okay, is maybe set up, for example, here we have the singular line here, right? So we could set up a bit different line type inside of the aesthetic, okay? It is completely different, and it's only going to be towards this particular geom, the smoothing geom. So, and also we have it for the line geom as well. So here we're going to say type, and we're going to do this by drive train. Okay, and if you remember, there were three types of drive. We have four-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, and rear-wheel drive. And again, this is the beauty of this, is that it's going to split it up for us, and then it's going to have our error bars as well. And so again, you see that there is this nice, beautiful way to display everything. Now again, this may be a little difficult to see, so we may want to change this up a little bit. Maybe we want to change it for maybe the color or something else. So maybe we could change that, and let's see what we can do here. We can change this and maybe change this to color. And now notice here, we actually see that each of these are done by color. This may be a little bit more beneficial to you, depending on what you like. And again, we can also even maybe mix and match these. Okay, so besides color in here, we can also add in line type as well, and we'll do drive again. What's nice with this is that this gives us two different ways of looking at how, so for example, if people are colorblind or something else, they'll be able to also look at the styles as well. And I suggest you guys kind of play with this to see for your liking, and again for whoever your clientele happens to be when you're doing your data visualizations. So let's also go through and look at one other thing that we kind of have in here, is that we see here that, notice how we have this this legend here, okay? Now, this is great and all, but sometimes maybe you want to have you want to remove this and maybe have it down below, or you want to have something else, and then maybe you're going to maybe just verbally explain it. Maybe you're putting it in a presentation and you want to actually talk about this and not have this in the side there. You can actually go through and inside of the Geom Smooth, so let me pull this, and you know what, let me clear this and put this here inside of our Geom Smooth, not inside of the aesthetic function, okay? You can do show.legend is false. And notice here, it removes our legend for us, and that allows us to have a little bit more space. Now, again, you always need to have good labels when you are doing your visualizations. However, there are instances in where it is very beneficial to you to remove said legend. And another thing that we can do is we can stack on our multiple geoms. So we can do something like a ggplot. Here our data is going to be our MPG. We want our geom point here with a mapping, and we're going to do our aesthetic here. X is going to be our displacement. Y here is going to be our highway. And then we're going to also add, you know what, I can just copy this really quickly and it'll be a little bit faster. Paste this, and I'm going to change this here to smooth. So notice here we have our data, our ggplot function with our data. We are tacking on or adding on in here a geom point with our displacement and our highway variables. Then we're going to add on one more, and this is going to be our geom smooth, again with the same displacement and displacement, that's the P in there, and our highway. These are going to need to be the same, and then when we run this, we get this beautiful figure that we see here. We're actually adding on both of the figures together, and we can have this nice trend line as well with our plots. And again, we can add in different colorings as well, so we can go through and do something like well, okay, you know what, let me back up just a little bit, okay? Now you can tack them on like we've done here, okay? But to be honest, if you're going to have multiple items on here, notice that you're going to get, this is going to be relatively tedious to type this out over and over and over again. So you can kind of make a bit of a, you can take that mapping layer and put it inside of our first layer pattern that we have in here. So we can do MPG, and then we can have our mapping here, okay, at the beginning. AES, and for our aesthetics, X is going to be our displacement, Y here is going to be our highway, and then all we have to do here is do geom point plus our geom smooth, and we can run this, and this still gives us our same plot. Okay, and that, again, that is a little bit cleaner to read. It's going to be very accessible to yourself whenever you're wanting to add and clean things up. For example, here, now we can go back to this geom point later and add in a specialized aesthetic just for the geom point, and we want this to be our color by class. We add that, and now we have our nice smooth line as well as our coloration for our plots. Now, a couple other things that we could potentially do in here is to add in some extra magic, let's say. Okay, so we have this is the regression line, the loss trend line for the entire data set. Let's say that we wanted to go on and have a specialized set for maybe just maybe our subcompact data, or maybe even our pickups. So we can do data is equal to, and we use our dplyr methods. So for filter, in here we want our MPG, we want class to equal here, and I'll do for the pickup here, and then we want outside of here, I'm going to turn off the standard errors. So if we run this, and let me pull this out here, Notice here now, we only have the trend line for this singular pickup. Okay, now we don't have to do it for all of them. We can only do it, we have the ability to do it just for a singular item. And again, what we're doing in here is, let me just pull this back up, is we are re-grabbing the data and doing a filter inside of here. So it becomes this nice encapsulated piece of data transformation and data manipulation just for that particular piece of the visualization. So I'm going to leave this here, and if you guys like this, please comment, subscribe, and hit that like button, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.